Women in anime have come a long way, and over the years we've seen the rise of some amazing, well-written female characters. There's Riza Hawkeye, Makima, Frieren, the list goes on. But unfortunately, for every Makima, there's a Sakura. For every Frieren, there's a Mikasa. But what is it about characters like Sakura and Mikasa that makes them considered poorly written, besides the obvious fact that they are female characters that are written and created by men? Well, to put it simply, the things that make great female characters are, well, things that make a great character. It just so happens that they're female. Ideally, it should be a situation where you're able to change the character's gender, and that doesn't really change much about the character or the story. But the most common issues we usually see with women in anime are usually they're either over-sexualized for no purpose other than fan service, or they don't have their own identity or any goals or aspirations outside of the main character. And often we commonly see that they undergo no type of growth or development throughout the series or have no impact on the plot. Okay, now hear me out. Now, I know some of you may disagree with me on this, but I don't think the sexualization of female characters is necessarily a bad thing. As long as it's not just thrown in there for the sake of fan service, and as long as it has something to do with what's going on in the show, I have no problem with it. Like, a great example of sexualization done right would be Lust from Full Metal Alchemist. She's the literal embodiment of the deadly sin, and we see this as she uses her sexuality to deceive and manipulate others. Lust's sexuality is an important component of her character, and if it's taken away, is she really the same character anymore? I would say no. Faye Valentine from Cowboy Bebop is another great example. Her revealing, provocative outfit complements her seductive persona. And much like Lust, she's in 100% control of her sexuality and uses it to her advantage. The sexualization of these characters makes complete sense because it ties into their personalities or skills, and it's just not put in there for fan service. Now, some bad examples of sexualization would have to be Yaoyorozu from My Hero. Now, I understand that her quirk, which allows her to create objects using body fat from exposed skin, kinda requires her costume to be fairly revealing, but you can obviously tell that her costume was designed with fan service in mind. With a quick Google search, you could find multiple fan-made redesigns of her costume, which still functions perfectly fine with her quirk without any huge emphasis on her cleavage. And the thing is, Yaoyorozu is a character that's meant to be taken seriously, and sometimes I feel like her costume kinda takes away from that. Midnight, on the other hand, from the same anime, also wears a very revealing costume, but not only does it complement her quirk that emits a sleep-inducing scent from her body, but also fits her hypersexual, flirtatious personality. Now, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed shows like Prison School and High School of the Dead, which are filled with a lot of unnecessary fan service, but my thing is that they're animes that aren't meant to be taken so seriously, and they're very self-aware of what they're trying to be. Another major issue usually found in female anime characters is many of them don't have their own goals, aspirations, or any type of identity outside the main character. A prime example of this would be Mikasa from Attack on Titan. As badass as she is in combat, she has no interests of her own. Her only motivation and purpose revolves around Eren, which really draws the question, who is Mikasa without Eren? Who's Sakura and Kaden without Sasuke? It's like these characters wouldn't even exist. Now, Hanji, on the other hand, who's my personal favorite from Attack on Titan, is a great example of a character who has their own identity. Besides being skilled in combat, she was always on a quest for knowledge, whether it be her obsession with Titans or her strong desire to explore the outside world. Hanji had depth and was her own independent person outside of Levi or any of the other scouts. Now, I know I mentioned a lot of shonen battle anime so far, but shoujo anime is also guilty of some poorly written female characters. And mind you, shoujo anime is anime that's catered towards girls. The first one that comes to mind would be Yuki from the anime Vampire Knight, which was written by a woman, mind you. Not only is she a bland, boring character with no personality whatsoever, but she undergoes little to no growth at all throughout the series, and is constantly reduced to a damsel in distress. And I want to make it clear that just because a female character isn't physically strong and has a love interest doesn't automatically make her poorly written. Nana from the anime Nana is a great example of this because even though Nana is in love with Ren, she still prioritized her dream of becoming a successful rock star. Nana wanted to become a successful musician on her own merit, which is why she didn't follow Ren to Tokyo. Her whole personality and purpose didn't revolve around a male love interest. Now I just want to touch on some female characters who I think are very well written as of lately. Makima from Chainsawman is one of the best female villains we've seen in recent times. What makes her great is her complex personality. She can be nurturing, gentle, and kind, but also dangerous and a master manipulator. From the moment that she's first introduced in the series, you can tell something's up with her. She has this mysterious, uneasy vibe about her. She also disproves the perception that femininity is weak, and we see this throughout the series when she uses her sexuality as a form of power to manipulate Denji. Yor from Spy Family is another character I wanted to talk about. Even though she's not super complex or anything, I would consider her pretty well written. Besides her being physically strong, I think the best part about Yor's character stems from her feminine side, or lack thereof. The thing is, even though she's physically strong and able to protect her family from danger, she struggles with the traditional wife and mother roles, like navigating romantic interactions with Lloyd, cooking, and helping Anya with her school life. This struggle makes Yor so much more relatable and adds depth to her character. I would say Frieren is the prime example of writing a good character who just so happens to be female. What makes Frieren interesting is because she lived for thousands of years, she has a unique perspective on life and time. And because she pretty much has all the time in the world, it's interesting to see how she deals with love, grief, death, and relationships with others. Lastly, I want to talk about Maki from Jujutsu Kaisen. In my opinion, she's hands down the best female character from the series. Sorry, Nobara. Honestly, Maki kinda reminds me of a better, more fleshed out Rock Lee from Naruto. She was born with no cursed energy and thus was discriminated against and treated as an inferior amongst her clan. But with her strong will and determination, she made up for her disadvantage through her physical strength. She created her own path despite the traditional values of her clan, and I found that very admirable. But simply put, a good female character is just a good character that happens to be female. And I want to make it clear that a good female character doesn't necessarily have to be strong or have traditionally masculine traits to be considered good. They should be their own person outside of the main character. They should have their own thoughts and goals. Also, they should have depth and some type of development and impact on the story. I don't know, I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm asking for too much, but I feel like that's what makes a great female character. But that's pretty much it for now. I know there's a lot more great and terrible female characters I could talk about, but this video would be like 10 hours long. But I'm down to talk more about the ones that I missed down in the comments below. So let me know who are some of you guys' favorite female characters and why. Do you agree or disagree with my takes on what makes a bad or good female character? Let me know. I'll be reading all you guys' comments. But besides that, please like and subscribe, y'all. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you.